Hi, my name is Ron Summers. I'm a financial advisor with the Master Capital Group.
What financial mistakes do seniors commonly make?
Some of the biggest things that I see is first, not really planning for retirement the way they should. Budgeting is a big one, and we'll talk more about that. But budgeting, not planning, the reality is when we're planning, we really are planning until our 90s. We're living longer. There's no question about that. And we really have to start early on that, but they just don't take it as seriously as they should. The other thing I see is not really seeing how taxes play out in retirement because it's much different than when you're working. So we really have to make sure that we understand how we are taxed in retirement with all the different income streams coming in.
How should retirees prepare for long-term care costs?
Good question. And first thing you really have to understand is, what does long-term care cost? What is the actual cost of long-term care? In the state of Florida, the annual cost right now is around $124,000 a year. And about 70% of people that are going to need some sort of long-term care once they reach past the age of 65. So those are the realities of it. Unfortunately, a lot of times people want long-term care when they can't get long-term care. They're already older or their health has deteriorated and they just can't get it. So we do have solutions for those folks. There are a lot of hybrid plans out there, whether it's through life insurance or annuities, that speak a lot to long-term care, and they give them a lot of long-term care benefits. So there are things that we can do if they can't get the traditional long-term care that they want, but there are things that we can do to help them.
Ron, what conversations should families be having earlier?
Some of the conversations that families should have earlier are just understanding the needs and wants of what mom and dad actually need once they get older. A lot of times those conversations happen too late. They happen after something happens, a crisis, some fall or something, and we just don't know how to move forward, when in retirement. Who's going to take care of mom and dad? Who's in charge of taking care of mom and dad once that happens? Who's in charge of, gathering the documents? Who's in charge of what mom and dad want to do? Are they going to move to a community or not, or so forth? So we just have to lay the plan out of what is actually going to happen here if mom and dad get sick. And then we have to look at the what ifs. All right, what if one of the spouses passes? Can the other spouse live on their own? Or if they can't, where are they going to live? They're going to live in a community. They're going to live with their family member. So it's just having those conversations early and often is the key.
What are most people worried about financially in retirement?
The number one thing that people worry about financially is running out of money. That's the biggest thing that they worry about. It's bigger than worrying about death, to be honest with you. So people are living longer, so our money has to last longer. Healthcare cost is another big one that people worry about because of the price of long-term care. It keeps rising, and as I stated earlier, we're going to need some sort of long-term care most likely as we get older. There's a lot of times people will have a hybrid plan, a retirement plan where they're going to work in retirement, and that's very popular now. It just helps with spending, expenses and so forth. It's just something that you have to look at, but making sure your money's going to be there as long as you will is a big thing. And frankly, working with planners and financial advisors is crucial to making that happen.
And how can families protect assets while still planning for care?
Long-term care is probably the number one way to protect assets. So if we can get that in place, great. If we can't get that in place, we would look at those hybrid plans where that they can get some sort of long-term care benefits and still protect their assets. There are things that you can look at, and those are things like pooled trusts or Medicaid trusts and so forth. I highly recommend getting with a qualified estate attorney to set these things up. Fortunately, with the Senior Solutions team, We have a great attorney that can help you with that, but that's it. You have to have that conversation. We have to look to see what your assets are, what we're trying to protect, and just move forward.
What role does budgeting play in successful retirement?
Budgeting is everything in retirement. Usually when I'm working with somebody that's 3-4 years out from retirement, we're starting with budgeting. I need my pre-retirees to get into that habit as soon as possible, because without budgeting, it makes for a tough go in retirement. And here's the thing: while we're working, everything comes in kind of systematically. You get bi-weekly paychecks. Your paychecks are more. Once you hit retirement, you're going to get a Social Security check. That's once a month. You might get a pension check. So now we have to start pulling from our retirement accounts on a maybe irregular basis. So that's a big adjustment for someone that's going into retirement. And a lot of times what I see is the first 2 years of folks that are in retirement, it sometimes hurts them more so because they're pulling more money out than they should. And it all goes back to budgeting, right? We're not set up to budget well. So it's everything. And when we're working with pre-retirees, we're getting them in the habit early.
What should adult children understand about aging parents' finances?
Here's the thing with finances, your parents' finances, and working with them. When we're growing up, most families do not talk about their finances. Mom and dad don't talk about it. It's just, it's just kind of the way it was. However, when mom and dad get older and you have to start taking over those finances, we need to know everything about the finances before something happens, before a fall, before a stroke, because once that happens, we're kind of scrambling. So have those conversations early and often. We need to know things like, where is the income coming in from? Is it coming in from Social Security, pension checks? What accounts is it being pulled from? We need to know what healthcare directives are. We need to know what insurances we have. Those are the things we have to have. We have, to have those early, because if not, once a crisis hits, like I said, it's tough to come back from.
What financial documents should be organized now?
Yeah, good question. On the documents that need to be set up now are things like our insurance policies, our estate plan documents, our mortgage, our loans that we might have, our titles to our car, all the different proxies, healthcare proxy, all the different wishes that we want as we go into retirement. We have to have those, and it should be handled by a person in the family. So those are a lot of the things that we need to get in order now, and we need to have those in a place where we know where they are, where we can access them. The other thing is big is login credentials. We need to know what the login credentials are to some of the different bank sites or sites that we might need to get into if mom and dad can't get into those sites. So those are some of the things we need.
What are some avoidable retirement planning mistakes?
Waiting too long to start planning is number one. We need to start those conversations early. Knowing what our income is, knowing what our expenses are, putting a long-term care plan in place early and not waiting till we actually need long-term care plan. What do we want retirement to look like? Do we want to stay in the house? Do we need to sell the house? Who's in charge of what? What family member is going to be in charge of the different things, whether it's taking care of the documents, or who's going to be in charge of our healthcare decisions? We have to have those decisions set early to have a successful retirement.
What creates the most peace of mind financially?
The peace of mind, having a peace of mind financially would be things like having enough money, knowing you have enough money that it will not run out, having a good healthcare plan, having your estate plan set up, and knowing where everything is good to go. Knowing what charities you want to give to, who do you want to give to, give away things to. So having those things set up makes you a nice, easy way to retire that it is worry-free.
And Ron, final question. If someone watching this is overwhelmed and doesn't know where to start, what would you tell them?
Well, the first thing is you will be overwhelmed. It's going to be overwhelming to you. However, that is not an excuse to not move forward. What I would do is get with someone like myself first, okay? Someone that's been there before, who's helped people before through this process. Because what they're going to do is they are going to create a team for you, okay? Whatever we need, whether it's the state attorneys, CPAs, anybody else that we might need to bring into the picture, we're going to bring to those pictures. And I have all those relationships that I bring into the picture with my clients. But creating that team, once we create that team, then I'd say, hey, let's write down what you want your retirement to look like. Where do we want to live? What do we want to travel? Do we want to spend time with the grandkids? Do we want to, what do we want this to look like? From there, once we get that set, then we're going to have those conversations with the kids on how we want this to play out and inform them of those plans of what we want our retirement to look like and what we have in place already as far as documents and trusts or wills or what have you. And then from there we can have the retirement that you want. And that's the thing, you can't have the retirement you want. I don't care what budget it is or what your plans are. It's just that we have to plan properly. And the other thing is you can't do this alone. You can't do this alone. You need help to formulate a good retirement, and you can have the retirement of your dreams.